Welcome everybody to We Geek Podcast. Today is March. Wait, is it March? Yes, March 17th. Oh my God.
It's March.
Today is
I know we canceled it, but it's still March.
yeah, 2020. It's officially been canceled. I'm
It's,
Adam, of course, joined by my good friend Logan. And
hello.
yeah, this episode's gonna be a little bit different.
Yeah, just a
Uh,
shade.
yeah, all of the news, unfortunately, is revolving around this one thing. It's affecting everything, from jobs to just everything in everyone's life. Not just the entertainment business that we'd want to come here and talk about, which we do kind of want to do. We'll talk about some things that have been pushed and everything else, and we know everything's kind of crap right now. Hopefully, we can be a little entertaining. But yeah, this man, it's what a difference a week makes.
Yeah,
Uh,
right. No kidding.
yeah, and of course, we're talking about the coronavirus that is sweeping the world right now. And hopefully you have everything you need if you're listening, and hopefully you're staying indoors. You're not going out unless it's necessary. Hopefully you got everything. Hopefully you got toilet paper. Apparently that was the first thing to go.
I don't get that. Like I really don't get that.
Here's the thing. It makes no sense why everyone rushed out to get it immediately. But I understand why people then go, oh, holy shit, I need toilet paper because I maybe have like a few rolls left and it's just a Thursday.
Yeah.
And so they go out and get it because that's kind of what happened with me. I saw everyone going out to get it and I'm like, well, I look under my my sink and I'm like, well, I got a couple rolls here. Maybe I should buy it. Maybe I should get some things that and it was kind of the thought process of, oh, wow, Italy is shut down. They can't leave their homes. Same with South Korea, like for weeks. So I
Yeah.
thought, oh well, I might as well go stack up. So at least have it for the month or so. A normal package. That's the thing is, I really wish these stores would have limited one per person
Or
or whatever.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, to see these videos of these people walking around in Walmart with 6 giant packages of them, it doesn't make any sense. It's insane. So yeah, I went there. I got my conservative pack that's gonna last me a while. What I need. I made sure my mom and what so has some. But God, yeah, it's been crazy. It's been nuts. And not only obviously is it serious with what's going on with the virus, it's also serious what's happening to our economy.
Yeah.
And
It's not gonna be some fun times. I mean,
yeah,
stocks are trash right now, but I mean that's the the good news is there has never been a better time to buy stocks.
yeah.
if
I mean,
if you are so capable or inclined, and at the risk of sounding a bit like a shill because I'm a fan, I'm telling you, bet on Disney. Disney stock right now is what, $90 a share.
that's what I was
It's
gonna say. Make sure that it is a big, well-known,
yeah.
like Disney, Apple, Microsoft. Those will all 100% come back.
Yes, I
Those,
and that's my big thing is
yeah,
Disney. Disney is right now at 93 a share and a little
yeah,
change. Which, yeah, that's a little pricey, but Disney usually runs about 130 a share.
right.
So imagine if you've and I know this is not talking to a great deal, like a big number of people, but if you've got $500 or $1,000 that you've always been like, I want to invest in something. What do I invest with? Invest in Disney, because I'm telling you, when everything starts opening again, when Disney World and
Mhm.
Disneyland reopens, when the movies premiere, Disney is gonna bounce, and it's
Yeah,
gonna
people
bounce
people are gonna
high.
want to go outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's. I think it's the uncertainty of it all. Um, like, of course, these things have happened in the past, but I don't think anything in modern day or that I can remember anything close to this.
We haven't seen anything like this in, I think, generations. I don't think since
Right.
World War II has there been a complete and total, like, the whole country is going through the same exact thing. honestly.
Yeah, and the information age, it's a double-edged sword because at least we can communicate. We have a way to get information out immediately, even if it's false information, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's your
Um,
problem.
there's your problem, yeah. But at least for most people, it's getting the information immediately. Sometimes it's a little too much. Like honestly, if you're cooped up for the next couple of weeks, might don't shut off the phone, but spend some time away from it. Spend some time, read a book or something
I'm
like
telling
that.
you, man, read books. Like, no joke, read books. Like, there, a lot of us are gonna have plenty of time to spend on it. So there's
Yeah.
there's
Oh
that.
yeah. Spend some time with your family. Watch a movie. What did we see? Uncut Gems, which was just stressful.
It's it's so bizarre. Like,
It's
it's a ride. It's a tense, and it is tense from start to finish. That whole
it is
movie.
so much anxiety. It should have
It's
just been called Anxiety the movie,
you're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong.
and it 100% makes you never want to like get in that gambling world because it's.
Well, then congratulations, it did its job.
Yep,
Like,
yep, absolutely.
it's just it because it is. It's about addiction, and I mean, this guy is there is no stopping him. He has a problem, and
Yeah,
that's unfortunately just that.
yeah, and it is a wild, wild ride.
Yeah, it's
Um,
and it's a hell of an Adam Sandler performance. I'm telling you
yes.
what, it's really, really good.
Oh yeah, it's by far my favorite Adam Sandler movie. I don't think I've seen him do anything better.
No,
Uh, but yeah, but you know what? For a moment, I was able to turn off everything and focus on that and kind of disappear. Same with like turned on Destiny. So you can have some screens on, but I guess what I'm saying is the news 24/7 is insane right now. Try and keep up, make sure you get up to date information about your schools, of course, and your kids, and I mean, I, I'm paying attention to see like what the plan is for paying people who are now unemployed, who
present.
have hardships. Yeah, yeah, who has hardships in the next couple of weeks or months because of this. I see a lot of people throwing around 2 weeks, but when the companies are saying they're not opening their doors for at least possibly 8 weeks, that's more than that's 2 months or more,
Yeah,
of issues. So I'm that's what I'm definitely because that's what I'm worried about. And so yeah, and obviously you are too. It's insane what's happening. I when it started happening, I was like, no, am I overreacting, trying to get stuff and get everything taken care of? And then there was just that moment where it's like, oh no, this is super serious. Uh, and I'm pretty much not. I've kind of come to terms with staying inside for the next month or two.
yeah.
I saw that like what was it? Amazon is going to only get stuff to their warehouse that are essentials.
They're prioritizing all the kinds of like household essentials. Yeah,
Yes, and that makes sense. So, like, if and I imagine a lot of people, instead of wanting to go to the store because they don't want to risk bumping into something or somebody with it, they're probably going to order off Amazon. I saw they're expecting to hire thousands of people. Um, so, be kind to the people who are delivering this to your door. Be kind basically to anybody you bump into right now, especially.
yeah.
It is a time to be kind and generous. If you're still going out, I don't even know if you can go out in some places I guess you can go to dinner. I know they've shut down bars and drinking at certain establishments.
Yeah, and with restaurants, it's been state by state.
Yeah,
North Carolina, they shut them down as of 5 p.m. today. They still
yeah,
have carry out service, so anybody that
gotcha.
does like like Applebee's is still gonna have curbside and all that kind of stuff. DoorDash is still a thing. Uber Eats is still a thing. Pizza delivery is still going to be a thing. So one of my jobs is safe for the time being,
Yeah,
but it's a state by state basis. I know that a lot of states are just kind of canceling school for 2 or 3 weeks. But I saw somewhere, where was it? Like Kansas or something. Basically
mhm.
just canceled the rest of the school year. They
Oh wow, yeah. Here in Central Florida, they basically came out and said there's not going to be a grade for the rest of the year. School's closed until the end of April, and I forget the rest of it. But I mean, having no more grades for the rest of the year, that's essentially it, right?
Yeah, basically. Like
Yeah.
it's just kind of I like the idea of continuing education for the year, but not making it, no pressure.
Yeah.
That way, students can still learn, teachers can still teach, but
And if you get
there's
young ones at home, I know Scholastic just offered a lot of their material free online. So if you go to Scholastic's website,
yeah.
they do things daily. So it helps you. So you don't have to think of, oh, hey, what should we learn today? You can go on there, and if you have little ones, I think it's like 5th grade and younger, they have different things for them to do every day. So yeah, it's a wild time. I'm also afraid from some of my family that still have to work. They still have to go out there and do it. And being in an office with a bunch of people, and who knows, it's just such a weird time.
Yeah.
So, and then of course they're afraid to go home because they don't want to lose their job, but they're
Right.
also afraid to go to work because they, obvious reasons. So it's a catch-22. My brother was saying someone in New York worked for a nursing facility and ended up getting the whole floor sick with it because he was afraid to lose his job. They basically said, if you don't come into work, you're fired.
Yeah.
And he came into work and got everyone sick. So
welcome to life in the only industrialized country that doesn't have mandatory sick leave.
Yeah, it's, man, these issues that have come up, you probably heard about all over, in the race coming up for years now. It is more apparent than ever that there's a problem. So it's, I don't know. I'm not sure what to say. Just be kind.
Take your precautions, wash your hands, do all that stuff, and don't.
Yep.
I keep the one.
Especially if you're around older people. Like if you're around anyone 50 and up, especially.
Yeah.
You have to be extra careful. Because I'm around my grandparents. I'm around my parents. I've canceled my hair appointments, like, because I was getting my hair cut. Like, I'm just not risking it because I can't. And so just little things like that. It's a little bit of a sacrifice, but for the next couple months, it's not that much in the long run. Just to sit on your ass at home, if you can, obviously.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. I just, with everything that's shutting down, I think it's great. The county I live in made it a point to say that that any kind of fingerprinting services. This was a press release from the sheriff's office that to show we have our priorities in order, especially around here. That all fingerprinting services are suspended except for people applying for concealed carry permits.
Oh wow!
They're still gonna run those because, damn it, we're gonna shoot this virus away.
Oh yeah. Wow. I saw that police department over in Washington put out a request online for it's due to confirm cases of COVID-19 from the community. SLCPD is asking all criminal activities and nefarious behavior to cease until further notice.
I love that. I saw that.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah. A little bit of humor in this time. It's also been, it's been interesting, obviously, seeing the rest of the world go through this, watching what's happening with Italy. It's tragic. But also seeing, like, a lot of their videos of them, like, hanging out their balconies and singing and stuff like that. It's just such a...
It's great to see those moments of the human spirit.
Right.
It really is. And to just see, that what can happen when people understand things. And yeah. I am looking forward to I'm looking forward to, I'm assuming in 2021 we're going to get a wave of new books that's all just going to be that they're going to be all different kinds of books, but everybody is now suddenly going to have the time, Oh
yeah. I 100% believe you. I mean, I'm two sides of this. I don't want anyone to do it to exploit this issue. Obviously, we'd want it to be a little bit down the road. But I imagine movies and stuff like that. There was that one in 2011 I keep seeing that I've never seen before. I
Contagion.
keep seeing Contagion, that apparently is like this exact scenario, but like just ramped up, I guess.
Extreme, with a much more brutal
Lethal.
and fatal virus.
Right.
Yeah, but it's
Right.
in principle it's largely similar. And it's
Yes.
and it's worth a watch because it's also a really good movie. And the number of actual consultants they had on it is what makes it, people look at it now and they're like, "Oh, well, this is almost a playbook for what should have been done from the jump."
Yep.
But it's weird things like that sometimes.
Yeah, it's funny, these phrases and stuff that you just never heard before, or you've heard but never thought about, like the bell curve and all this stuff. That now everybody knows because everyone's read the same articles, and it's wild. But like I said, just be careful and don't be selfish. Like I said, especially if you're going to be around your parents or your grandparents at any point, just stay home. Like, that's the thing. We got two amazing games coming out at this end of this week. We got Animal Crossing and Doom, two completely different sides into the spectrum there. And
are they?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's true. Right. Every outlet loves them. Like, they did nothing but high praise. And I think now more than ever, a little bit of fun like that could probably help, especially if you're stuck inside. There's the things like we heard earlier this week that Steam had record numbers.
Sure.
I saw their IPs were going crazy. It was like 70%. Forgot what it was, but a lot of people are online in Italy, downloading stuff. We had. Have you played any of the Call of Duty Warzone yet?
I haven't, but I have downloaded it. I
Gotcha.
imagine it's going to be packed.
Oh yeah, it's packed.
The Resident Evil 3 demo comes out on Friday, I think.
Yep.
Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
Like it's we've got some
Trials
stuff to
just
do.
came out with Destiny.
Oh
so
yeah, that again.
Yeah, even if you don't have the season pass, on the weekends you can jump into Trials, and it is rough. Competitive on that is crazy. So there's a lot of things to keep you busy. We saw that. Man, there was a few things I saw this week. What was it? Disney released Frozen 2 a little bit early.
Yeah. Frozen 2 was out on Disney Plus early. The Rise of Skywalker went out on digital release like 3 days early. Universal is releasing Emma, The Hunt, and The Invisible Man on VOD, I think like sometime this weekend. I think it's like Friday, Saturday, something like that.
Which is super early.
Yeah. Trolls is going to be a VOD release on April 10th.
Yeah, Birds of Prey is next week.
Birds of Prey got moved up. There was something else that got moved up, but everything that's already been out, a lot of those companies are bumping up the digital release dates.
Right, and it makes sense.
Sure, absolutely.
Especially if you're going to have the theaters closed at this point.
Yeah.
Might as well put it out for the next couple weeks or however long that stays.
Yeah. And I mean, everything's of course delayed. For everybody that was worried about there not being too much of a summer movie season this year, we're gonna pack the whole damn thing into like 4 weeks.
Pretty much.
It's like July is just gonna be every day a new movie comes out.
Yes.
God, it's gonna suck. Gonna hate it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
I saw that a lot of productions on things, of course, have stopped because everything that's going on. We had some celebrities. I think it really hit home for some reason with a lot of people when it was announced that Tom Hanks and his wife had it.
And it was just like, what? Why did fuck this virus? Huh?
Yeah.
It's like, you don't mess with Tom Hanks, no.
Yeah, and he posted like, remember, you don't cry in baseball or something like that.
There's no crying in baseball.
Yeah. Yeah, so, it's, I think that's when it really kind of made it real for some people for some reason.
Well, because it's this thing of like, it's this odd thing of like, they are not of the common folk in one sense, but also because it's Tom Hanks. Like, why does, if there's anybody who is a big name A-list celebrity that is also a paragon of good,
right,
it's Tom Hanks. And anytime something bad happens to Tom Hanks, the whole world just wants to rise up and fight because how dare you?
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
There
Yeah.
was a there was a great bit. Christopher Titus did a great stand-up bit about that,
Oh,
way on
really?
back when. And it was that the about how some people are just so nice that you can't believe something bad would happen. And his example was if Tom Hanks punched a nun, your
Oh, wow.
first response would be, what did that nun do to make Tom Hanks that angry?
Right, right, exactly.
But it's just that kind of thing where you're just like, no, because these are the good people, why
Right.
why does this happen to I mean, even people that are rich and famous and what have you, some of them are still very likable, so you
Right.
don't want to see this, you don't want to see
Idris
anything
Elba.
happen to them. uh,
Idris Elba was another one.
Another one, and it's just like, why, just
Yeah.
it sucks.
I saw people were saying do the Elbow bunch, or instead of the elbow, I don't know. They were trying to make a joke, and it was terrible.
Oh
They're
god.
saying don't shake hands anymore.
Yes, but
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's crazy. It just goes to show, no matter what part of society you're in, you totally could get it.
yeah,
The president of Brazil has it, right? Or
I doubt
wasn't that reported? He called it a fable a few weeks ago.
that one I hadn't seen. I
Yeah,
know it was becoming more and more prevalent in South America, particularly Brazil. But
yeah. They downplayed it a little bit, and
yeah, well,
yeah.
there's
So
a lot going on down there anyway.
yeah, yeah. It's just been wild. And so yeah, I mean, stay home. You know, get, there's so many books. Get a Kindle at this. That might as well get a Kindle at this point, or just go and buy a book. There's tons to read online too. That's free. I saw the Animorphs released their entire library online.
Yep, and I'll tell you what else is a great resource: local libraries. Everybody's, not to go to, but everybody's local library has a digital section.
I was gonna say I'm not sure if a lot of them are still open.
But the
You can
digital
sign up
libraries
online.
are. Yep. Just
Oh, okay, there you go.
whatever your local library is, look it up online. And I'm fairly confident in this, every library has a digital section. They only have
So
select numbers of books they can loan out at a time, much like a physical library. They only have so many digital editions of a book, but
right.
the selections are still going to be fairly large. Um,
So I could sign up right now to my local library and read the books. Do they need, like, your driver's license or something? What do you think?
you need a library card.
Library card,
That's
okay.
it. All you need is a
Gotcha.
library card. Yeah, it's just Overdrive. You can find all of them through Overdrive if you've got the Overdrive app, or their website, or just
Okay.
just Google whatever your local library is. Just look it up,
Perfect.
and they'll have a digital section. Hell, if the Statesville Public Library can have a halfway decent digital section, there's no reason for any place on the planet to not have one.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm
Yeah,
signing up for it right now.
yeah. Because it's just they get loaned out through. You can get the Kindle version or the EPUB version for whatever kind of
Mhm.
reader you have. But again, it's just like a
Yeah.
physical library. They only have so many copies at a time, and it's not completely expansive. There's not,
Right.
like every book under the sun on there. They still have to be low. It's just like a physical library. They still have to actually have them and own them. And if they don't have them, I know at least with Statesville, you can make recommendations, and after a certain number, they'll say, okay, fine, then we'll get this book.
Yeah, they probably just got to get certain licenses or whatever for it and
Exactly.
be able to release it. Yeah, no, yeah, that's what I was able to do. I was able to go and put in my information, and my wallet's on here, but the only thing it really does ask is driver's license, which makes sense because that's when they're going to know. Yep, you're in that county. You
Yep.
can totally go ahead and use that. So that's perfect.
Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I mean, if especially if you got a few weeks off, if you can't work right now, look to see what your state is doing about unemployment. Look to see what, obviously, what your employer is doing about the next few weeks if you can't work. Um, uh, and if you have to stay home and you can't go anywhere and you obviously can't work, man, read is the best time to do that right now. Or write, honestly, be creative.
Read, write, study something. There are so many tutorials on YouTube
Mhm.
for anything. Pick something and spend spend a couple hours a day doing something.
Yeah.
I'm starting this weekend. I'm going to have a lot of time off.
Yeah.
My thing is, I'm going to start writing reviews again. I'm gonna
There you
go.
go.
I'm gonna start watching what new Amazon, not Amazon, Netflix. Well, maybe some Amazon, but I'm gonna start with Netflix releases for this year.
Yeah.
The
Hey,
movies, and just do that and write it, and I'm gonna host that on my website, and I'll put a quick little video version of the review up on our YouTube channel, just to be
yeah.
doing something and create some content, and keep that kind of muscle building going when it comes to writing and reviewing, and just even just the act of typing those out
Yeah.
is
Well,
is a muscle to build.
I was gonna say if you wanted to start some My Hero Academia or whatever, I'm totally down. If you wanted to record some episodes later,
I may do that. I am
yeah.
really gonna. I'll tell you what I will do is I really need to get back into Super. I
Okay.
really need to get back into Dragon Ball Super. So
Yeah.
I may skim a little of the first arc. I was up through the first tournament.
Hmm.
Like I had gotten that far, but
Right.
I don't remember a whole lot. So I'm gonna bounce through some of that just to kind of skim through it and then dive back in. It really just because I heard the most ridiculous story from somebody at work the other day that there's a filler arc or a couple episodes where they play baseball,
Yeah, oh yeah, they totally play baseball.
and it's just as ridiculous as you would think it would be.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I was like, all right, fine. Is it out in English? Yeah, it's you can find it in
Yep.
English. Okay, so I'm in. I'll get back into it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's great.
But you know, so I will keep myself occupied. I may it's and that's for anybody who isn't working, take a little bit of time and do, I mean, Duolingo has almost crashed. It seems like every other day because everybody's going, well, I got nothing else to do, might as well use this free app to learn a new language, you know?
And what's it called? I've never heard of it.
Duolingo, Duolingo.
Oh, okay.
It's the green owl. You'll know it when you see it.
Oh yeah.
And
Gotcha.
it's a little freebie app, and it's fairly comprehensive. Like it's
Oh, you can
not.
learn a language.
Yep. It's I mean, it's not like Rosetta Stone level of in depth or anything, but it's fairly solid.
Yeah.
It's art.
Cool.
It's at least better than it's sadly better than probably any language course we took at any point in our lives. So,
Yeah, that looks awesome.
but
Got my notes here.
it's something to do if you've got an hour, go through and
Yeah.
pick a language, and they have so many choices. They have
Yeah.
so many choices, and I mean, it's actual languages, and they even have, if for people who want to be goofy, they have Klingon, they have High Valyrian,
Oh, that's cool.
they have a couple just sort of oddball fictional languages because why the hell not? And it's
What? Yeah, that's awesome.
but that's something their services have spiked. But there's you're gonna see a lot of that, and I feel like in a way this is going to wind up being a largely beneficial reset. It sucks and it doesn't look like it now, and it's gonna be
Yeah.
tough, and not everybody is gonna come out of this okay. But
Yeah.
I think that as a whole, by the time all of this is settled and things start getting back to normal, we're gonna be a different kind of people.
I hope that we learn from this. I think that we, with SARS and some other these, it seems like we didn't learn.
Yeah.
And I hope that, those were way more contained.
Yeah.
I just hope that moving forward, that just precautions are taken, laws are made, so that this kind of thing, it's inevitable that it's going to happen again, but that it doesn't get out of control, and that it is avoidable at all costs.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. You can't control what people do, 24/7, but I hope that we learn from this, because unfortunately it is going to cost a lot of lives that it just doesn't need to happen. But yeah, I hope we all come out of this, appreciating the day a little bit more.
Right.
appreciating your time. Remember when the biggest news was we had a Baby Yoda?
Yeah. Right.
That was like the thing that was going around and everyone was talking about, and the it's crazy to think back at that. And I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna be a weird couple of months, years, you know. But like you said, take this time to be creative. Of course, pay attention to the news, be informed, be informed, but also know to take a break and use it as a mental health break. Like, use this moment in time to take a break if you can afford it, and if that opportunity is there to do that, of course.
Yeah.
But read a book, learn these languages. Hell, even waste some time in Azeroth if you want to. Talk to your friends, FaceTime. Just don't go out and be stupid. I saw they closed down everything for St. Patty's Day, which of course they would have to.
Yeah.
I knew something was coming with that. I was like, there's no way that St. Patty's Day is going to happen. They're going to let all these bars open, all these people who just don't care. Oh, man, it's just wild. Yeah, man, I think that's a great idea. I think I would love to do some, if you wanted to do some more podcasts for whatever you watch or whatever you do.
Yeah. So
I think it's fun.
that's as far as I've got so far. But we'll see what else happens. You know, I've it's just gonna be interesting, and I mean, really all the news that's out there is just delayed as far as as our stuff's concerned. Video games not so much, because they can be bought digitally and everything. So those are
I do imagine there will still be delays, because
I don't know. A lot of developers are working from home. I mean, Cyberpunk's not going to be delayed because they talked about.
I guess what I'm saying is, if it's going to be released within the next 2 months, and if, like, for example, if for real stores are completely shut down for a month, like you can't walk into a GameStop, I imagine those games are going to be delayed.
I don't think so, man. Digital.
You don't think so?
No.
Hey, I'm all for that. I'm with you.
I think
that's what I want.
I think because digital is an option. I mean, you're not going to be able to get like the physical bonus packages and all that kind of stuff, and the big collector's editions and those kind of things. But I don't see, I don't see companies that have a perfectly viable and growing and arguably primary distribution platform not largely affected by this, saying, well, but they can't get it in stores, so maybe we should just wait.
Well, my thought was they have deals in place with GameStop, with Best Buy, with these retailers, so that it's not digital first, and that you can buy it day and date at the store or the mom and pop shops.
Yeah.
And so my thought process was, it's going to be extremely unfair to the retailers, since the retailers are closed and these games are sold online. So once they do reopen, everyone's already got Animal Crossing digitally and they can't go to the store. I agree with you. That would be awesome if that does happen. I'm just saying, I guess that's what I imagined in my head. I figured they'd be like, we're going to wait a couple weeks. But you're right. I mean, they could totally just release it digitally.
Yeah.
And by the way, I did see that, like, GameStop is not doing midnight opening for Doom or Animal Crossing or anything like that. So if you're getting it physical, just be safe when you go into places like that. Video game stores anyway are just nightmares of germs, so just be careful anyway. But yeah, no, I plan on getting those digitally this week. But I saw that, and that's disappointing. I know a lot of people loved the midnight showings. So
yeah, I had always planned on getting the 7 remake digitally, so this doesn't bother me any.
Oh yeah.
So
When's that come out? The demo pop. Did we talk about the demo yet? Did we talk about that last week? Or
I think I don't know if we had or not. I feel like we might have. But I've just I can't tell you how many times I played it. I've lost count.
No. So did you? Because I never really played Final Fantasy games growing up. My buddy Rocco, shout out to Rocco. He loves Final Fantasy. Always praised it. whenever I had a PlayStation just like he did, but it just never clicked with me because it just seemed like way too much.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and I just remember looking at those games back then and thinking, oh my god, how does it look this good?
Yeah.
Especially with, I guess towards the end you get like, I don't know what they are, but there was always these like giant cutscenes of any time they do like a special move or something like that just blew me away. But did you play Final Fantasy VII when it came out?
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
How many hours would you say it is?
Oh, that depends entirely on your level of engagement.
Oh, okay.
Because that's RPGs for you. You know,
Yeah.
you can sit there and grind forever if you wanted to. To blaze through the story, I don't know, a solid 40.
Now, when you
I
say
would say.
grinding in that kind of game, because I have some
Yeah.
friends who played it and they say they grinded stuff out, but like those old school JRPGs, you were grinding because literally you couldn't beat the boss, so you had to go fight
True.
monsters out in random encounters, right?
Yep.
Is that what it is? Okay, gotcha.
Final
And it was
Fantasy.
something.
Final
Oh, go ahead.
Fantasy VIII did a weird thing, though. And I don't know if this was done in any other game, but I remember 8 did something weird where the enemies leveled with you.
Oh,
So
okay.
you were actively encouraged to not level up in that game
Oh, wow.
because enemies got stronger and stronger, and it punished people. Like if you pushed it to to that level 99, it made the final boss. It was like a switch flipped in the final bosses,
Oh,
where
wow.
it was like, oh, okay, you're good, and now you're in trouble. Like
Oh, wow.
it was a weird mechanic.
Yeah.
But it put more emphasis on, because 8 had a weird junction mechanic, and I've been playing through the remaster because because I platinumed the 7 remaster, which was really fantastic.
Oh, wow.
So now I'm trying to do that with 8, and it's a pain. But
I have it actually on. It's weird. I have it on the phone.
yeah, I believe
I
that.
ended up getting a or a code, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good on iOS.
Yep.
I started playing through it. I kind of want to do it before the game comes out, but I know that I'm not going to.
Yeah.
It's just so much.
And that's the thing. It depends on how much you put into it. There's so much, like I said, just straight through the story. It's a fairly standard length kind of JRPG run, but
Right.
there's so much extra to do and so much extra to explore.
Right. I in the iOS version. I did play up to the point where the demo ends. So I played just to kind of see like what the differences is, and they were almost exactly the same.
Yeah, it's really cool how they really have just taken the same space and reimagined it on a much bigger scale.
Yeah.
It's way more in depth, it's way more detailed, but it's very familiar to
Yeah.
anybody. It's a great thing for fans to go in and say, "Oh yeah, I know this, but damn, this looks incredible." Like it's not a shot for shot remake. It's more the new Aladdin than it is the new Lion King. It's not the exact same thing. It's the same but different.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's man. I'm excited. I'm definitely excited for it. Wait, when's that come? It comes out next month, but when next month?
10th.
Okay.
Pretty sure it's the 10th.
Wouldn't it be lovely if they came out tomorrow and said we're putting it out next week?
God, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
That would be perfect.
I'm telling you right now, don't do that to me.
Yeah, that would be perfect. Give us something to do in these just crazy times where we're literally forced to stay at home. You know, it's wild.
Don't joke like that, man. I don't even.
Well, that's what I'm excited for it. I wish it was the full game, but I'm excited to jump into it to see, you know, just all the hubbub was. Because I've seen Cloud in a million things. I've seen the characters a bunch in like other things. You know, their game franchises like like Smash Bros.
Like
and stuff
Smash,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think I saw the movie at some point.
Advent Children, yeah, probably.
Yes, yeah. It's crazy because the game looks better than the movie.
It does. It
That's
really
how
does.
far
It's
it's come.
crazy.
Oh yeah. Did you watch any wrestling?
Yeah, boy, has it been interesting. Uh,
Yeah, we haven't even dived into that. I mean,
I
WrestleMania weekend, man, it's crazy.
so what I so they're in a tough spot given that everything happened just right before the big thing.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
they
Yeah.
can't you can't cancel it. You can't really postpone it. Like it was always gonna be weird.
Right.
So this way they're gonna put it on at the performance center and have the matches, and it's gonna be strange. It's gonna be really strange, but it's entertainment, and that's
Yeah.
what the company is literally called. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's not in front of a live crowd, but you will have a live televised audience.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Here's the thing: wrestling should be in front of people.
Yes.
So it is so weird to see that it's not. I hope that they lean in to kind of the Muppets, how they do it. I guess because they're, you know, what I mean by that. I guess because what I'm about to say is gonna make no sense. My favorite stuff when I saw the SmackDown was the Triple H stuff. Triple H
Yeah,
stole the show.
he absolutely did.
And when him and I forgot who else was it, Mojo Riley
Rawley,
started,
yeah, Mojo Rawley.
yeah, they started like beating up Michael or whatever. Michael, like that whole thing was just so ridiculous, and it reminded me just of the Muppets for some reason. Like they need to lean into that kind of stuff. They need to lean into they know it's ridiculous. I like that he came out there and he was right up front. He's like, hey, shit's going down, everything's going crazy, but we want to entertain you still, and that's what we're going to do. And I like that. And I want them to be super aware of how weird everything is, and I want them to lean into that. This is going to be the weirdest WrestleMania ever. Let's not pretend that there's people in the crowd. Let's, like, you know what I mean? Like, let's not point at everybody that's not there, you know? I the match I'm looking forward to the most is Bray Wyatt and John Cena. I have a feeling them two are going to make it so fun.
They are, and I'll tell you what, that was the best thing on SmackDown with, John cut his promo and this and that, and then you just hear Bray laugh, and they cut to the crowd, and it's just his head popped up over the railing like a kid. It's like a little 5-year-old just staring up the railing. Oh God, Bray Wyatt's an absolute treasure.
Yeah.
And I absolutely just cannot wait for this. Like, it's gonna be weird. Oh, is it gonna be weird?
I saw him put on Twitter something about, like, if it doesn't happen in Tampa, I'd like to challenge you to a battle in Hooters, and it's like, I'm not kidding.
to a Texas death match at Hooters.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Wait, did he get a Goldberg tattoo?
Who, Bray?
Bray Wyatt?
Oh, I hope not.
On February 8th. No, that can't be real. It looks like his arm, but with like a Goldberg tattoo on it.
It was probably just some fun little Photoshop.
Yeah, it's gotta be. Because I was looking back to see the tweets that he put out, but I can't find it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's gonna be fun. I don't even know, like, who's on the mat. Who, like, we know Roman is who's he going after?
Goldberg.
That's right, Roman and Goldberg.
AJ and Undertaker.
Yeah. The American Badass. Right now, I missed some of Raw. I turned on Raw and I was like, "Oh, this is Royal Rumble," and then I turned it off and I turned it back on. I was like, "It's still the Royal Rumble."
Yeah, they just aired the whole match. They were like, they figured out that they couldn't just air a 3-hour Raw.
Right.
So they were like, "We're gonna take 2 hours out of Raw to air the Royal Rumble with commercial breaks."
Right. Exactly. And then they had a match with Rey Mysterio. But I like that the Undertaker is the American Badass.
He's more the badass than the Dead Man, but I also think that's because of it's in the Performance Center.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be weird. I want to be surprised. I think as long as they surprise us, it'll be fun. Um, everyone knows it's gonna be weird. Everyone's in on the weirdness.
Yeah.
Um, uh, you know, I I heard from YouTube, all these YouTube channels and whatnot, and it makes a lot of sense that they didn't pull it yet technically because of some insurance issues.
Well, and here's a strange little loophole that I've heard bandied around. So the way that policy works is they they relocated it. They relocated WrestleMania, but they didn't cancel it. So they are still. Oh, how did it work? There's still some kind of clause in it in their policy somewhere where they, as long as they've shown they tried to have it, and I think they're counting on Orlando to cancel it for some reason or other, which I don't think is actually going to happen. So that then they can not have WrestleMania, but then still have the insurance payout from it. It's really weird and convoluted, and it's something I've heard kicked about. I don't know. It is a rumor. I have there's no validity to it that I'm aware of, but also this is a company that has not particularly had a great track record with not trying to find every possible way to make money whatsoever. So
Right. When I started hearing this, exactly what you're saying, there's a part of me that goes, "Oh, that makes sense." And
Yeah.
no, like that totally makes sense why Vince would do that. I get why he would do that as a businessman, and I also understand that's exactly what Vince would do, because he's not the kind to go, you know what, this isn't. What's a good example? When a company finds that all this virus stuff is happening, we're shutting everything down, we're paying all of our employees, like that's a good thing to do. Vince is like, no, the show must go on. Who cares what's going to happen? And then suddenly all this happens, like we're going to the performance center. So do you think they'll shut the performance center down?
I don't think so, just because there's not that many people there.
I mean, the governor said no more than 10 people.
Yeah,
for an event. So I doubt the police are going to shut them down. I doubt Big Boss Man's going to come down the aisle and take someone out. Well, he's from Georgia, right?
and also deceased.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean. Never mind.
Look, man,
nowhere I can't walk into that anymore. I'm sorry. I didn't realize he was deceased.
Look, man, the Saudi prince wants Yokozuna and the Ultimate Warrior to show up. You're fine.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was deceased, man. Damn.
Yeah.
But I guess I should think that a lot of wrestlers that age are probably deceased, unfortunately, because fuck, man, that business is rough.
It is.
Yeah. Goddamn. Yeah, and it's not just WrestleMania. Like we've been talking about WrestleMania for a couple minutes now, and it's everything around it that really gets hit.
Because everybody runs, like WrestleMania has built up like a festival atmosphere around it, and everybody comes in. Ring of Honor comes in to do something. Like everybody, there's Tampa and Raymond James Stadium, and then not just everything that WWE does, like Access and NXT and the Hall of Fame, but every other company comes in and finds some venue to run during WrestleMania weekend because it's where all the wrestling fans are. It just makes sense. But there is one in particular, and it's WrestleCon, because here's the thing, it's not against the law to hold these events. These are just broad recommendations and saying you shouldn't do this. So you can have gatherings of 50 or more people. Right. Which I think is why WrestleMania will go on at the Performance Center.
Gotcha.
But it's not it's not technically illegal. So the Marriott that WrestleCon was booked at, when all of these things came down and the people promoting WrestleCon and booking WrestleCon came down and said, yeah, we've got to cancel this event because of these guidelines, the Marriott said, okay, well, it's actually not illegal nor impossible to put on this event, so you owe us the 80% of the damages that's in your contract. And it winds up being like $115,000. that
Oh my God.
that the WrestleCon promoters have are being told by Marriott that they owe, and everybody in the wrestling industry is looking at this and just going, okay, so nobody go to Marriott anymore, ever, anywhere. Because
Yeah.
this is just, it's ridiculous. And no, there's absolutely not one court in this entire country that's going to look at that and say, oh, yeah, no, that business was totally in the right. No,
Right.
they're being
It's despicable.
it is, it's ridiculous. And
It's
it's,
encouraging them to continue the event when there's a worldwide pandemic.
yes.
And that's just when I saw the news about GameStop and the shady things they were doing with their employees, or apparently there was no Perel with a lot of them. And this is all done by Vice, so this isn't me saying it. Go read their article about what GameStop has done and what they're doing behind the scenes. And the Camelot 331's YouTube channel, he's got a ton of people emailing him about like, oh, hey, this is shady as hell. Like, they're basically telling us to come into work, tell the police if they try to shut us down. Here's our corporate lawyer's number, that the show must go on. They don't have the correct cleaning materials. They're basically told if they don't come into work, they're fired. This mentality is just disgusting.
This is insane. Like, that's
Yeah.
madness.
Yeah.
Like, they had help.
We didn't even talk about we did last week, I guess. Who's now on the board?
Yeah, Reggie. Yeah, we talked about that last week. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's it's a Vice article. GameStop has no idea what to do about coronavirus. Read it yourself. It's far more than what I can explain. But it was just, I read that and I was just like, I can't believe this is real.
Madness. Absolute madness.
Yeah.
No, at the theater when we were still open, it was, as soon as all this started and they, everybody was cutting attendance down, and I mean, it was sanitized the hell out of everything. Like, I mean, we cleaned all kinds of stuff and went back over it 2-3 times. Like, no, they absolutely wanted to make sure we cleaned up. Like, that's, I cannot fathom a company who's just going to say, no, don't worry about it. I don't get that at all.
The company memo essentially said for them to come in, even if they are sick, and unless they came out that they had coronavirus.
Okay.
It's absurd, and a lot of it, I guess, was done via the phone, so it couldn't be, there was no paper trail. At least that's what a lot of the district managers or whatever are emailing, and I don't know. Go read it. It's not me saying it; it's other people. But yeah, when I saw that, I was just like, and nothing's going to be done to these companies. They're going to get away with it.
Yeah.
Just be careful, especially if you're working for these companies. Be smart. Be careful. It's not worth your life. It's not worth. And 99% time, well, I don't know. I don't want to say that, but more than likely everything's going to be okay. But just be careful. Don't risk your health for stupid stuff like that. Don't put yourself in a bad situation, because a company shouldn't make you feel like you should put yourself in a really bad situation for your health.
Yeah.
Of all things, it's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. So especially GameStop. I don't know. I saw that, I was disgusted.
No, I don't get that at all. I can't understand how anybody in any kind of position of authority in any company thinks that's okay. Like,
Oh yeah. I guess Kotaku picked it up too. Their article: GameStop's employees fear its coronavirus policies are dangerously flawed. So, yeah, it's not just Vice. It's Kotaku. It's the Camelot guy who has, like, it seems like he has every person at GameStop in his pocket that mail. That's what it is. They're like, he literally has people from all over the country that work there that mail him information. And he doesn't usually talk about it unless, like, a bunch of people are telling him it.
Right, it's not just, oh, I heard this from 1 or 2 people kind of deal.
Yeah, it's most of the people that were mailing him saying, yeah, we don't have Perel. Like, we have no cleaning supplies. And of course he goes on to say, this is just what they're telling me. And you can go on the GameStop Reddit, they're saying the same things.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's wild. And I think it's because we all know GameStop for a while now has been hemorrhaging, and this no, they never expected this to happen before their console launch, and it's disgusting to see.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's wild. But anyway,
speaking of trade-ins, Tom Brady went to the Bucks.
Yeah. What a weird.
I'm telling you, what
why
the
would
actual hell of all teams, of literally every possible team to go to.
Yeah, I don't get that. My buddy who's a big Bucks fan hates the idea of it because he thinks it's kind of like Favre going to the Jets or whatever. I'm like, hey, you might get further than you did before.
I mean, Jameis Winston can't run unless it's from sexual assault charges or public security. So I mean, they could only go up. But I mean, boy, did they trade up in a big way.
Right. Saw an article that said, on the plus side, maybe George R. R. Martin will finish Winds of Winter now. Oh, bless him. And we're saying that in jest. These writers can take their time.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm sure if he ran across that gave him a little bit of a laugh. Because it is always funny when he does joke about it as just a joke, that he's in on it. I hate that people harass them. Him and, Patrick Rothfuss and whatnot. Like, look, let them take their time. They're going through something. They're going through a process. Art is not it can't be manufactured like that. There's no cast, I guess.
I mean, yes, in the pure like ideological sense, in the pie in the sky.
That's what I'd like to think.
But take a look at pop music and a lot of current fiction.
I think there's more. You're absolutely right. I think it's hard because books are entertainment, but I don't think they're as much of marketing, or I don't know what the phrase would be. They're not
formulaic. I think you're looking for, like pop music.
They're not put out there to be something like pop music or even movies, actually, like Star Wars and stuff like that. I think books are one of the last form of art where like an author can be free to do what they want. Now, obviously, the big names, I read a lot of fantasy. The big names, of course, want to make sure they get a lot of readers, and I'm sure they get a ton of editorial notes about, hey, people want this. But I truly believe it's one of the last places where they can just do what they want, especially if they're big enough, to where in the movie industry, for example, that's rare. It's every once in a while you get a Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
Or those guys that did the Uncut Gems movie. I guess that's what I'm saying is that like books, like that's a place you can go to you can go all over the place. I don't know. I don't know if that's making any sense.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, I like your idea. I do hope a lot of people get creative during this time, and we get some wild stuff later on, some good stuff.
Take the time, man. Draw something, paint something, write something. To make music, learn something, study something. If you've got the time, the resources are out there. I'm serious. Like you can find out how to do anything on YouTube.
Yeah, play some games with your kids, some board games. There's a ton of board games out there right now. It's an insane amount. But yeah, did you see the Nintendies, or what was it called?
The
Nintendo's Indie Showcase.
Nindies, I think, something like that.
Yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff on it. Who are the guys? Oh man. My mind just, of course, went blank. What was the game that came out on PlayStation that everyone got upset about because it was No Man's Sky?
Right.
And then it had the Cinderella story. Would it be called Cinderella story? Or the comeback story, I guess?
Comeback story, I think, yeah.
Yes, where they actually were like, hey, you're right. We screwed up. Let's add these things that people want. They did, and the game is super fun now.
Yeah.
So that studio made another game. Oh, no, of course, the list is not here.
Yeah, I had seen that earlier. It was a very different art style. I can't remember what it was called, but I know it because it looked very striking.
Yes. Oh, boy. I thought I had it, and then it's not the list. But yes, that game, it was about like getting out of depression and stuff like that. Like it was very some crazy themes in the game, and finding your way back. Um, of course, I can't find it. It's Nintendo's list of best indie games, and Nintendo, you don't make it easy. I wish you could go to the website and be like, here are the games we announced today. Okay, so let's see here. I found it.
The Last
Hey,
Campfire.
there we go. The Last Campfire. So yeah, so that looked stunning.
Yeah, it really does. Like I don't play a lot of indie games. I just
Mhm.
usually wind up not. But I
Oh,
always
I do.
like I support the hell out of them. I know I don't do
Yeah.
it monetarily, but I'm a giant cheerleader for independent games because there's always different ideas, and they're not giant epic uncharted things because they're not supposed to be, and they're not going to be, and they shouldn't be. But it's a way for people to be creative and just do to stretch their imagination and say, I've got this idea, and how do I do this, and figure it out.
Yeah.
And you come up with some tremendously cool and interesting looking things, and this was definitely one of them because it's gorgeous, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
so simple looking, and I love that.
Yeah. Oh man, I absolutely love indie games. And the best thing about them is they're not $60 games. You could get five or six of them if you wanted to, probably. They can range anywhere from $5 to $10, 30 to 40. They're 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 easier to get your hands on, I guess, is what I'm saying. I love that. There was another one that struck me, and they only showed like a few seconds of it, but as soon as I saw it, okay, let me preface it by this. I have no interest in this hobby, but for whatever reason, for that moment, I was like, I am interested in that. And it's called Wingspan,
Okay.
and it's a bird watching game,
Okay.
and it's a board game, and I can't
Okay.
explain any more than that.
It's
But
a board watching bird game. That's definitely an interesting concept. It's different, that's for
yes, and
sure.
when you're looking at the trailer and you're looking at the screen, it doesn't look like a board game, but there's cards, and I think you spot these birds in the wild, and it's almost like you collect them, and so they're different cards, kind of like any other kind of card game. So if you have the Chumney Swift, it says when activated, if bird is to the right of all the other birds in its habitat, move it to another habitat. Like there's like different things the cards do. So it's a card slash board game on the Switch that has to do with bird watching. And I thought that is the strangest, craziest, coolest looking thing I've seen in this whole thing, and I definitely want to play it.
It's I okay. Like
Yeah,
that's it. Definitely makes you stop and take a second look at it.
yeah. It's 1 to 5 players, so you can play against the computer, and this is the kind of game I'd love to play right now. Like for some reason, I've been super into like Civilization. I've been into stuff like this. I don't know why recently, but like these like strategy games where I can just chill out and do my own thing, or you can play with other people.
Yeah.
I love it. Like I started up The Witness the other day again. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just love that. Just the puzzles or whatever. Like these games that I don't know, just take it back a second. Like it's not just full graphics, whatever. It's just simple. I don't know. It looked really cool.
Yeah.
But it definitely caught my eye. And there was a ton more. And I think they had like one more thing at the very end, and it was Exit the Gungeon, which is available today.
Okay.
But I don't know if the store's up. I know it was down earlier.
I think it's still down.
Oh wow, yeah. See, a lot of these, they're not expecting everyone to be online at the same time.
No, it's flooding servers. Like
Yeah,
they're just because nobody has anything else to do at the moment. So
yeah,
this is what happens.
yeah. And I guess what I'm kind of afraid of is like, I hope the cable company can keep things together the next couple of months. I hope and nothing goes wrong with power and all of these services that we just are so used to working and every once in a while going out. I really hope they keep them together. I know like a lot of you mentioned earlier, a lot of developers and whatnot have sent their staff home, and Blizzard announced that as well. But like, does that mean the people who run the servers are home? And it's weird. It's a weird time. And it's not the end of the world, obviously, if those things turn off. If you can't get into Warcraft, if you can't pull up your Switch, that's the least of anyone's problems, of
Right.
course. But it's an odd time. It's interesting. Um,
No, you're not wrong there, but
yeah.
it's just I don't know, man. This is a we the old cursed proverb. May you live in interesting times. And
Oh yeah. And
I,
I'm glad that by this point, it seems like most people are taking it seriously.
yeah,
I think a couple days ago, I have people in my family who just, they were going to work for the polls, and not the right age to be out right now. And it's these conversations you have with your family members of, this is serious, and it's not worth risking your life over. And more than likely, most people hopefully will be okay. Obviously, and uh, it's going to be extra damaging to those who are elderly or have issues, and it's affecting much younger people than what I think what people are going around and saying it's like only an old person thing. It's not.
yeah,
uh, but yeah, I don't know. It's, you got to be careful. Stay inside, stay busy, be creative. You don't have to do it all day, but take an hour or two and just do something creative.
yeah.
Put something out there. If you were going to get in Twitch, there's not a better time to start becoming a streamer, because what else are kids going to do? Like, no joke. Like, if people are out there want to start streaming, now is the time to do that. Make a YouTube
fair.
channel.
Yeah.
Start talking about things like what you said. You're going to do reviews. Now's the time to do that. Now you got a second to breathe. I guess everything's still falling apart, but you got a second to breathe.
Right. Yeah.
Now's the time to do that.
Yeah, on the other side of things, research your state's unemployment uh, benefit
Yes.
laws. I'm gonna have to look into that paperwork here in the next few days and figure out what I'm gonna do. See what if that's something that's happened at where you work. Look into whatever your company may or may not provide.
Right.
Mine does not, I don't think, but we don't have information, and that's what's happening. A lot of places is that as they're closing down, there's not a lot of supplemental information.
Right.
Our work week at the theater runs Friday to Thursday because that's movies come out on Friday, so that's when a week starts. Okay, fine, whatever. It's weird, but I get it. We are scheduled through the next couple days. Our schedule is still up for today, tomorrow, and Thursday. There's no schedule for next week. What we know is that for today, tomorrow, and Thursday, if you are scheduled to come in and work, come in, because we are cleaning. We are cleaning the hell out of that place, which I think is a fantastic idea. I'm all
Right.
for it. Sign me up.
Yeah.
We don't know anything past that. So
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going to happen. I may not have, they may keep some on to continue cleaning if they can. I wouldn't hate that at all, but I doubt it. But I
Right.
don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. So,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's where a lot of people are, is, okay, well, they're closing this down. What does that mean for me? What's happening moving forward? And I think that too few companies, I'll put it that way, are coming out with enough information quickly enough. And it's simply because they're not prepared for something like this. And I'm not going to be somebody who's going to cut them slack and say, well, how could they have prepared for this? They should have prepared for this. We've had hints of this off and on for decades now. This is not an entirely unprecedented kind of thing. Just because it's uncommon doesn't mean there shouldn't have ever been the idea that, hey, this might one day happen. There should have been something. Obviously, they're not going to be able to plan for exactly this kind of thing, but there should have been a framework they could look at and say, okay, if we take this and change it around some, then we'll be able to know, But
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
so we will see what happens.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. it's gonna be crazy couple of weeks, but we'll be here. We'll definitely have an episode next week. We're not going anywhere. And I don't know. Yeah, stay tuned. You said you were gonna do some YouTube stuff, so stay tuned. We'll post the stuff on the Facebook group.
Yeah, keep an eye on our YouTube channel, and I'll throw a link when I start. Because my plan is to watch and write and post the written review, and then do a quick, like, I don't know, 3-4 minute just actual video review, just something like that. They're not going to be long, God no. But it's something, and it'll keep me from going crazy. So that'll help.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't know if there's anything else really to talk about. I think we covered pretty much everything.
Yeah, it's just not a whole lot of anything going on to talk about, in a sense.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we'll be back next week. Make sure you send us an email, wegeekpodcast@gmail.com. We'll be on Twitter at AdamEsip, at the Logan Witt, at We Geek Podcast. Our Facebook group, if you got any questions, drop it in there, and pay attention to the YouTube channel. We'll be posting links with what Logan's doing, and maybe we'll watch some anime. We'll talk about it. I think that would be super fun. So we'll see you guys next week. Captain.